Hey, thank you for coming by Tori Magoo 44. Today is the 29th of March. It's Thursday, and I'm continuing on with my series on what is a cult. And really, is Scientology a cult or isn't it? It's up to you to decide. For me personally, it is definitely a cult. Having lived there for 30 years, experienced it, escaped out. When I did escape out, as I've told you, I did not believe they did any of these negative things at all. I really didn't. I mean, I even told the person who was helping me, Stacy Brooks, they don't do stuff like that. And she said, Tori, we used to run programs like this. Bring a phone. And this is before everybody had cell phones. And I'll tell you, it was quite a shock for me. I've written about it. If you want to read about my escape, you can just type in the search escape, and it's a 10-part series on how I woke up and how I escaped out. It's pretty good. Anyway, thank you to each of you for your comments and any of your experiences on cults. It really definitely helps you. People are waking up, learning this stuff. It's very good. It's tricky. It's really tricky. I mean, this one is on mystical manipulation. Again, I'm going to remind a lot of you, because you all have the good fortune of the internet. And so you have read and listened to and heard all kinds of stuff that we who got in 1969 or earlier knew nothing about. You know, it's kind of like we went along with the program. It sounded good. Mystical manipulation was definitely it for me, because it was like, we're going to clear the planet and we're the chosen few. You know what I mean? And, well, what do you know? So are you. And that might sound really hokey to a lot of people, and you think, I'm not going to buy into that. And you wouldn't. Neither would I. If somebody told me, if I knew everything that most of you know now, I would have never, ever, ever gotten into Scientology. But I didn't. I didn't even know it was a religion. I wouldn't have. If I knew it was a religion, really a religion, I wouldn't have gotten into it. I got into it because it was an applied philosophy. That's what they told me. And I was into Buddhism and Taoism. They were hard to apply, and I thought, ooh, this is cool. I can help clear planet Earth. So I literally hitchhiked from Chicago to American St. Hill. Another great book to get is Blink, which talks about your instincts are often your first one. The first example they give is the, what is it called? It's the museum, the new museum that they have out there, the Getty Museum. And they had a statue in there, and it was from many centuries ago, and for I think the 1800s. And it was there for a year. They were studying it. This is in the Getty Museum. People studying it, believing it, going into it, and finally one day one guy walked in and said, that's a phony, that was never in the ground. And they went to the guy who bought it, and they said, what was your first instinct? And he said, my very first instinct was it's a phony. And that's exactly what happened to me with Scientology. My very first instinct, I walked in and these huge pictures of L. Ron Hubbard. That was spooky for me. It looked like Nazi Germany. They were all marching around in their Navy uniforms. I was a hippie. I was against the war. I was against all war. I didn't really like the Navy or the military or anything. So that was bad news. They were super organized. I was against organizations and corporations. So in all right, I should have run. Do you know what I mean? And I did. You know, I asked to talk to this one guy. She said, no, he's on course. You can talk to him at 10:30. So I hitchhiked back out to the valley. Again, it was 69. We hitchhiked around. And I got stoned because I was with my friend. And, we were goofing around. We didn't think he'd call. 10:35, the guy called and said, I'm going to come out and get you. And again, we thought, yeah, right, he's going to come out and get you. Because hippies never did anything. Druggies hardly ever follow through with stuff that they say. So we're, laying around, goofing around, laughing, and the doorbell rings, and it's the guy. And I'm like, it's the guy. I mean, we were just freaked out. It was amazing. So anyway, he drove me back to American St. Hill, which was, quite a bit back. But anyway, we sat outside. He bought some beer, so I thought, can't be all bad. He drinks beer. Because they seemed very robotic to me. But I thought, well, he drinks beer, so he can't be a total robot, right? Then I started asking him these questions. What about those pictures? Why do they have those big pictures of Hubbard? Everything he said, it's a bunch of shit. Don't worry about it. The Navy uniforms, he said, it's a Sea Org. I'm not part of that. Everything that I was upset about, he kind of just brushed off, handled. And this is where mystical manipulation comes in, because it's a higher purpose, right? We're here to clear the planet. Let's go meet the auditors. He brings me over to meet the auditors. And back in the old days, they had a ton of people around. People used to hang around. There was a lot of social going around and chatting and stuff like that. So this was a good half hour after course ended. I mean, now you go there even when during course breaks, anything, there's nobody there. But back in the old days, there used to be. And, we went up and talked to the auditors, and they were all talking about this and that, processes they ran, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what they were talking about. But it was a perfect example of cutting off my own critical thinking. Because I remember thinking, I don't care what these people do, I want to be like them. And that was the beginning of my own critical thinking getting shut off. It's very, very insidious. And if you're in an abusive group, that is what happens. Or relationship. Your own critical thinking, they try to make you think you're wrong, right? They're right, you're wrong. Always. In any kind of an abusive thing. They're right, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You are wrong, man. No, I didn't do that, or I didn't say that, or you said it, or you thought it. It's your responsibility. I mean, I love that Scientology constantly pushes, you're not responsible enough. David Miscavige, the head of the Church of Scientology now, had an event. I had written him for 7 years saying OT7, one of their second of the top level, does not work, something wrong, let me off. Just kept getting back, okay, continue, okay, continue. Now he has an event saying the reason the OT7s are screwed up is because we trained them wrong. Now, you would think, somebody who trained you wrong, we've been paying them thousands of dollars every year to go there and get our corrections and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it cost a fortune. What did they do? Routed us to the registrar to pay another $25,000 to go back to go and do the whole thing over again. Is that responsible? Hell no. That's like the exact opposite. That's a con man. That is exactly what Scientology is. So this is my series on is it a cult or isn't it? To me, it is definitely a cult. For the academics, the two worst cults are the Moonies and Scientology. Because they build in these traps. Scientology's got the keeping Scientology working, which, you've got to know the tech, know it's correct, blah, 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 on and on and on. But it's very insidious. It starts with this mystical manipulation. They've got this higher purpose that's directly perceived some imminent law of social development, right? And that they are the agents chosen to carry out the mystical imperative, the pursuit of which must supersede all conditions of decency and imminent human welfare. Ew, that's pretty spooky. And I know, if I'd read that, if I'd read this, no way would I have done it. But that's why I'm telling it to you guys, because there are a lot of different cults, and they're all tricky. Cult experts say, because a lot of people say, I would never do that. Oh, I would never get soaked into that. I'm a free speech advocate. People say that all the time. Well, I'm a free speech advocate. Or I believe in freedom. I would never let someone control me. Give me a break. So was I. I was a free speech advocate. I totally believed in freedom. I was a hippie. And look what happened. It's just very, very insidious. The only solution you have to not getting suckered into a cult, and this is by cult experts, is learn what is a cult. Learn how could you possibly get suckered into it. Teach your kids about releasing the bonds, empowering people to think for themselves. Now you can say, I think for myself. I did too. That's part of the mystical manipulation, is that they make you think you made that choice. You decided to whatever it is that you did, you decided it. It's not them, it's you. Very, very tricky. So, anyway, Scientology had their Clear Planet Earth, right? Which for me sounded great. I loved the idea of people being happy, and I was a hippie. I did. I believed it. I thought, how great. People won't have pains and somatics, and I'll be able to help people. My grandfather was a doctor. I knew I wasn't going to make it through medical school, so I thought, great, I'll be a Scientologist. I'll be able to help people, help the planet, by clearing them. Yeah. Right. If you have any questions on this, please keep Googling. There's all kinds of information. I'm going to put some links in here, some more on mind control, thought reform, and check them out. And if you can, get the books, read them. They're all excellent books and information that you should learn. You know, take time to learn it because it is your protection. It is your guard. Because you know, when you come up to talk to a Scientologist, the plexiglass is down. It just bounces off of them. If you're in the Church of Scientology, listen, read, look, and listen, and learn for yourself. Not for the group, learn for yourself. If you're in the Sea Org, do not pay a freeloader's debt. It's a total bogus thing. You've been working 24/7 for God knows how many years. You don't owe a freeloader's debt. If they have your money on account, keep trying to get it back. And David Miscavige, I'm telling you, that's what's going to kill you. Because you owe those people that money. That is their money. If you need to, tack on the interest and add that one up for the money that they have on account. People, they are holding on to people's money every single day. The IRS, write letters to the IRS. Get proactive on this. Because these people are really creepy. They're really bad. And if you're thinking about joining Scientology, here's my personal experience. Having been in for 30 years, they're going to say I'm an apostate. You know what? I'm not an apostate. I'm a person that was in the Church of Scientology for 30 years. I didn't even believe they did fair game, which is where Hubbard said you can lie, cheat, steal, destroy someone utterly, right? I said, no way. They showed me the cancellation. Oh, he canceled that. I stood up in court. Margaret Singer, who wrote this book, was in court talking about fair game. And I stood up in court and said, no way, that was canceled. That's an absolute lie. You know what? It is not an absolute lie. It's 100% true. It is happening today, every single day. And no, you don't have to be fearful of them because they are so in quicksand right now that most people, they don't have time to keep harassing people like they used to. Because they've got countries throwing them out now. Thank goodness for many, many countries that can see the light. For America, if there's any politicians that see this, will you please wake up and look into this organization? They are a mafia-like organization. Type in Scientology plus judges and see what they have to say. It isn't good. It isn't good at all. Someone called me a couple days ago who was leaving the Church of Scientology and said, Tori, they are worse than the mafia. And they are. And I know that sounds strong because people think, oh, Tom Cruise, John Travolta. No. They are not in the same Truman Show that the most of the people in Scientology are. They have their own entrance into a course room. They have their own secret parking lots. You know, they can do whatever they want. They have a red carpet treatment. It's totally different than the regular people. And even the regular people. Me, who was in their top secret mafia, unbeknownst to me, I thought I was just helping out, right? With, again, mystical manipulation. It's all your choice. I was just deciding to help out. Because my best friend said, oh, we need to handle these critics on the internet. I'm out opening phony accounts, don't even know what it's for. I asked him what it's for. He said, you don't want to know. If you find out, you're going to be in deposition forever. Now, who does that really? The Church of Scientology. And we all know that. I mean, their legal end of things is awful. So the only solution for all of you is to learn about cults, really learn what they are. There's only a few steps to them, but if you learn them, you'll never get snagged up in it again. As soon as these things start happening, you know, the bigger picture, it's like we're handling the planet or God sent us or whatever. You know what I mean? Keep looking. Narrow it down. Find out the specifics. And trust your own instinct. What do you see? What do you hear? What's really happening? Not what they say is going to happen, or they say is happening, or they say did happen to them. Look at them. Listen. Think. Doubt. Doubt to Scientology is very, very low on their conditions. It's a bad thing. Think about every single scientist in the world. Every single great person who's really been successful has used doubt to learn both sides and from that come up with something. Don't be afraid to doubt. Look for yourself. I'm talking words. There's Scientologists that won't even listen to me because Scientology's built in all these horrible things about Tory. Give me a break. What a bunch of wimps. It's pathetic to me. It really is. So I hope for you that this has helped you some. I highly recommend you get one of these books or all of these books and start learning about cults. If you have children, teach them about cults. Teach them how to think for yourself. Now everybody says, I think for myself. Well, learn the steps of what might cut that thinking off. Because all of us think we think for ourselves. But when you're in a cult or an abusive relationship, you're not. And you know what? It's very hard for someone to tell you that they're tricking you or they're fooling you because, no, I chose this. No, you didn't. It's a totally manipulated thing, all right? So thank you to every single person who has helped expose the abuses of the Church of Scientology. No, I don't think it's a church. It's a cult, but that is their title, okay? And as long as you guys are out there helping expose these abuses, more and more people are getting out every single day. And I thank you for it. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye-bye.